Today, the man to watch could be Bobby Labonte.
It's just gotten better and better every year, more competitive. And
is he going to make it? Yes, Bobby Labonte wins.
Great race car, great race team that coach was assembling and putting together.
Bobby Labonte from Corpus Christi, Texas, wins the 7th Brickyard 400 at Indianapolis.
We're joined today on Raceline by NASCAR Hall of Famer, former Cup Series champion Bobby Labonte. And Bobby, it's so great to see you, man. It was great to see you back in the spring up at 1010 Motor Sports Park here in Charlotte, racing your IROC car that you won the IROC championship with in 2001. How cool is it to be able to get back in a race car like that after these years?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of fun. I mean, obviously it's been great. We've done 3 races in it so far, and between the second and third race, I figured I better get a better seat in it, more up to standards, and so I'm glad I did. And yeah, it's the events that we've been going to with the IROC series and Ray and all of his people that work so hard at getting not just my car but other cars ready to go, and it's quite the ensemble, and they make it professional. We go out and have a great time, and we get to spend time with 3 or 4 times or a couple times a year over a couple of years now that sometimes we don't get to see other competitors like we do. Some we see more, and but I think that that's most of the fun for me is just getting to see the people that I looked up to, race with, and get to enjoy a little more racing with them, and have a good time, and we'll see you on at the next event. So yeah, it's been a blast, and I can't wait to do it again.
How serious is the racing in those cars?
Well, it's not supposed to be that serious, but it's gotten real serious. It's like everything else. I think I ruined the Eldora thing. I built my own car and all that stuff. Everybody did it. At least I'm not going to build my own car. It's the same car. I don't want to scratch it, so I'm going to take care of it. But I mean, we all get kind of competitive, as you can imagine, and but we also, man, it's just a lot of fun. I mean, it's just to be able to like I said, we went to Laguna Seca last year for the very first time, and obviously 10-10 this time, and so yeah, we've got a lot of great things coming up, and get to go back there and just enjoy the week, and the few days that we're there, and get to go see cars, and it's kind of like our country club, my country club, yeah. I guess, so get to see the people and the cars, and get to enjoy all that together, and that's usually the most fun about it.
No question about that. You were a participant in SRX, which a lot of people compared to IROC, although it was a short track series. A lot of them were run on dirt. You did real well in SRX. How did that compare to the IROC experience?
Well, I mean, obviously the SRX program, I mean, obviously kind of like IROC, we had some of the same drivers, a few of them that would run, and then but I do think that the SRX they were not our race cars, not my personal car. So we were, not saying we're going to bang them up, but, we could definitely, race them a little bit differently than what we do our original IROC car. But, it had the same, it had a format of like, similar to IROC, and we had a great time with it. And I think that the first couple of years was great. And then, it kind of run its course. But if it could have stayed around, I think that it would have been, it had the chance of getting, maintaining, I should say, because a lot of the fans and people I see, they all enjoyed it. And so, yeah, I mean, the SRX series was fun, and we had a great time, and, got to race against a lot of people that, again, we don't see all the time. And yeah, then we'd show up run 6 laps of practice and run a race. We had a lot of people watch. So that was easy and fun, I should say.
Yeah. Old school in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, you're one of a very select group of drivers that have won a championship in now the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. I want to make sure I give it the right name, and the Cup Series at the same time. And I think you were the first to do that. So, on your long list of Hall of Fame level credentials, that's got to mean a lot to you.
Yeah, I mean, it really does. And then, with, for me, that was, our family car too, to win the Busch Series, at the time, Busch Series. And so, I told the story the other day, and I don't tell it a whole lot, but, the year before I ran full time in 1990. In 1989, we had a sponsor, and he had an insurance company, and he embezzled money and got put to jail. And so we owed some money, and we didn't know if we'd get a sponsor. We got a sponsor, and we started racing. You know what I mean? So, one phone call that might not have been taken or something, and we wouldn't have possibly it wouldn't have happened there, right? So, I mean, a lot of things had to happen right for that to happen, and we're able to win the championship in '91, and we never slacked off. I mean, we worked hard, and almost won the second one, and won one with David Green, and then we were able to get the lucky breaks, and people holler at us at the right time to drive their cars, and that was, that's what it took to get there.
When Joe Gibbs hired you to drive the 18, Dale Jarrett had won in that car in the Daytona 500. It was a one-car Chevy team then. I think you were still a Chevy team when you joined Joe Gibbs Racing. What was that call like from a guy who's been a Hall of Fame NFL coach who's starting a race team to hear from Joe Gibbs? What was that like?
Yeah, I mean, that was, amazing in itself, because, and I'll say before that, with, the opportunity to drive for Bill Davis was, it gave me the start. And then, when we had, Maxwell House was leaving, MB&A was coming, but we weren't sure, and, could I wait? Could I not wait? Stuff like that. So he let me talk to Coach to see if there was an opportunity there. And so what I did, and I met with Coach, and, it was pretty simple on a napkin, to do this. And
no agent, no lawyers, nothing at that time?
Nope, nothing like that. His lawyer is Rick's lawyer, or probably was Rick's lawyer now. And the contract was this word for word, like my brother's contract when he drove for Rick. The only thing that was changed was the numbers. It was the amounts of it was changed, right? So when Terry and I read the contract together, it was like we flipped pages, and it was just like the same thing, except for the amount, right? And so, so Coach, I mean, when he, so Dale Jarrett, I mean, I wanted to, that car was, it was like that. It'd been around for a couple of years, but, we won races, Daytona 500 established. I had kind of felt like I had gotten myself to a point where I was like, fair, or like, I mean, getting comfortable with racing in the Cup Series, I mean, and week in and week out, and, learning and getting, a little bit more consistent and better, right? So, and that, that team was, still growing and, getting, better all the time. So, I think for me, it was a great opportunity that, to go there and have, probably were, I hadn't won a race yet, but yet they had, so pressure was on me to perform. And, I don't know that I just didn't know any better, but I just I enjoyed it, and I, took it all in, and, did, the best I could in it. So, and we started off good, but, it was I knew that was a great race car and great race team that Coach was assembling and putting together.
If it hadn't been for you in that car at that time, I think it's fair to say there wouldn't be a 4-car team over there now. Because if you hadn't had that success, Coach Gibbs might have said, that was good, we're out, we're done. But you build off those successes when you build a race team, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that, again, you know what you're doing when you're there, but then later in life, you can look back and see what you did while you were there, even though there's some things that were not clear. We're just racing, and we want to build another car or have another car, and we want to get Tony Stewart, but how do we do it and work hard to do that? And sponsors come in, and a lot of negotiations, a lot of talking, and then you look back and you see the whole thing from 10,000 feet of how it all kind of, evolved. And I mean, for us to grow from one car, and then when I left, there was 3 cars. And then, Denny came in right at the same year that I left. And I think Kyle was a year later, maybe. I'm not 100% sure if he was a year after that. But yeah, I mean, it was, I mean, for sure, I got to see Jimmy McCar go from crew chief to general manager to overseer of everything, and Zippy come in, and yeah, I mean, just all the, well, I'll tell people every now and then, it's like, I think I was employee number 18, I think.
How ironic is that? In the 18,
I'm going to go with that. I don't know if I was 17 or 19, but I'm going to say 18. And so with the first Christmas party, there's 36 people there, right? With my spouse, right? So, and then heck, when I left in 05, I mean, they're pushing 500 plus. I don't even know. I mean, they're still 400, a high 400 number, So yeah, I mean, it's amazing to be a part of that growth. And I was in a lot of meetings. I'm not sure if I had anything to do to make it any better, but I feel like that was, it was cool to see what Coach had built, and JD and Coy and everybody there, and Dave Alper and Jimmy, and it just, I mean, again, it is pretty cool to see now that they're a powerhouse with four cars.
And when you were there and Denny Hamlin came on board in those years, did you have any idea? I mean, here's a kid that back then I don't think any of us had ever heard of, a late model racer from Tidewater, Virginia, and he was darn good, like you, like right out of the gate. And now here he is to bring it to current day. He's won the last 3 races from the pole, which is really, really hard to do, as you well know. Is he ready to win the championship this year, do you think?
Yeah, and on the first part, I think that, for sure, Denny came in there, and, I mean, I know that JD and everybody had a lot of confidence in him, but, you don't know until you know, right? And so, I mean, he obviously, everybody knew right away that he was going to be really good. So what is amazing to me is what he's able to do, at his, not an age thing, but at his, at this long doing the grind.
Yeah.
He has been doing this for all this time, and he, owns a race team that's successful. He drives for Coach, which is pressure, and he's able to, I mean, I am way more impressed with him the past 5 years than maybe I was the 5 before that, right? And just seeing him, not that I went before, but just seeing him, the way he worked, his work ethic. And every young driver out there needs to watch this, because he is rewriting this the way he's doing it. And his success in this, his long-term racing, one team, knows where his future is going to be, owning, knows down the line. You know what I mean? It's just, I mean, I wish I could have, had some of that skill and some of that thought process that he has. He's really cool to watch, really fun to watch, and see his focus, and what he, he's way smarter than, I think he's getting, he's not getting like, okay, I'm tired of racing. No, he makes it happen. I mean, I don't know. I mean, he's incredible. I mean, so he's, I guess he's a new $6 million man, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
He just keeps going, so yeah. It's really cool. I mean, it's really cool to watch from afar and be a part of it.
Yeah, when you mentioned that, I was thinking about a thought I'd had is watching this process as 2311 got started and the success that they're having now. I can't imagine how hard it is to have the job that you've had for so long, driving at that level, winning races, having that pressure week in, week out, but also owning a team that's in contention to win a championship. So you've got to worry about that. You've got to beat them on the racetrack, but you've got to make sure they have everything they need. That pressure level, it's hard to imagine for me.
Yeah. I mean, and again, I don't want to throw the age thing, but I mean, he's not
25 anymore. Yeah.
That's right. But yet he's getting better, and he's won the last 3, and it's like, I mean, his goals, his wisdom, tenacity, everything about him is really special. And again, I mean, I think our sport, is going to have characters of all types that do different things, and how they come about, or, the successes they have, or the records they break, and the names they make for themselves. And, Denny's definitely doing it in the, in the 11 car with or without minions. So he can even do it with the minions, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's so cool to watch. It's fun to really watch, and watch him go. I've seen him walk through the shop straight to the simulator and just get in it and hammer out his session. And I don't see any like, oh my God, I have to go there again. There's none of that. I mean, it's just, he's a machine.
Yeah, no question about it. But you are in that category yourself, my friend. And I wanted to ask you about your relationship with your brother, Terry. One of my favorite memories from my years on TV, I think it was 1998. You two were on the front row at the Daytona 500. I remember sitting both of you down at Daytona to talk about that on TNN at the time. And, you come along, your brother Terry's hugely successful. You're the younger brother. How hard was that to kind of race in his shadow maybe for a few years, or was it ever a problem for you?
I don't know that it was a problem. I mean, it was kind of like a thing where I felt like, I knew I rode his coattails. I knew I needed to. I knew I wanted to. I mean, I wanted to be like him because he was cool, and he's my brother, right? So it's a little bit easier. And so, with our dad, raising us and getting us all prepared to race and understand that racing is our lives, right? I mean, breakfast, lunch, dinner, it's everything we do, right? And so when I started out, I don't remember hearing anything from the outside going, oh, it's just Terry's little brother, Terry's little brother. But I felt like I was definitely riding on the coattails. I mean, obviously I had a job at Hagen as a mechanic, and I mean, Terry was a race car driver. Would I have had that if it weren't for him? No. And then so, I did some racing on the side, and he helped out, okay? And then once, I got to a point, it felt like, it's like if I don't run good, it's going to be harder for me because I'll be judged a lot faster, right? So luckily enough, we got to running good enough where it was kind of like I felt like I got off his coattails a little bit. And so I definitely rode him for a while and used that. And then, got to a point where I felt like I was making my name for myself and racing myself and having that. So, yeah, I mean, but that's just pressure on both sides of it, because if you don't compete, if you don't use it and don't get it, it's going to come back harder than if you were just somebody else, right? So, yeah, a little bit of pressure on that. But, I think I finally got to the point, where I can say that I got past that, throughout the years. But it took a little bit of time.
I'm sure it did. But you're a Hall of Famer now in your own right. A couple of years ago, had the chance to do a few modified races on the television side. You were racing a modified on the Smart Tour. You did that for several years. Have you stepped away from that now?
No, have not. I've stepped away. I should say, yes, I've stepped away from doing as much of it. I ran once this year. I'm fixing to run a couple more times. So we're going to go test here in a few days. And yeah, I mean, we've got, some new stuff to try on it. And yeah, I mean, I just got my weekends got so full doing the stuff with JGR and then with Max Reeves on the ARCA and late models. And so it's like when Hermie and I sat down at the beginning of the year, he's like, when can you run? I was like, man, there's not many times. So, I mean, there was a couple opportunities or three. And so I'm going to take advantage of what I can. And so we've tested it a couple times earlier in the year and then raced New Smyrna. And then I ran a late model stock the other day for the sellers and practice it a little bit so we can get it ready for Max to one of our newer cars. So yeah, I mean, so I still get to drive some. So
yeah.
that is okay. I'll tell you funny stories. Like of course now it's probably 4 years ago. I think I ran like 28 races or 24 races, something like that, from dirt track in Yuma, Arizona to all this other stuff, right? So I told my wife, I said, that might be a little bit too much. So the next year, I think I ran 6 races. I said, that wasn't enough. So I couldn't find the middle ground, and I'm still not back to the middle ground. So,
yeah. So those cars are intriguing to me as a Northeasterner. We raced them, when they were nothing like they are today, but a long time ago. That's what my dad was doing, and so I've always had a soft spot in my heart for modified racing. There's no other race car on the planet like those cars. They're open wheel, very light race car, pretty high horsepower. How much fun are they to drive?
Oh, I am so glad I probably didn't drive one 25 years ago, because I don't know that I drove like that, but I mean, for me right now, I mean, it's the most coolest thing I can get into, affordability wise and opportunity wise. I mean, an F1 car would be yes, but as far as a car that's, we're going to be, 30 minutes from here Thursday, is that it is so cool to me. So low the ground, the feel of it. I mean, you just feel like, it's different than what I'd ever experienced. But yeah, it's like a go-kart on steroids. I mean, it's just for me, and you just got to drive the heck out of it. I mean, and when the guys come from up north, or and the guys in the south too. I mean, it's to race against competitors that they have now. It's just gotten better and better every year, more competitive, and yeah. So it's not going to be easy, when we go run, but looking forward to it.
I noticed, I was looking at their website earlier today. I know Ryan Newman's having a great year in those cars, and he loves them too. And then I saw that Jamie McMurray is going to come back and run a race or two in those cars. So you might get to race against some guys you've been up against many times in the past. How cool would that be?
Yeah, that is cool. Obviously, racing against Ryan, we did that a few years ago, and we were actually teammates for a little bit. And so, yeah, I mean, it's great. I mean, and I've always looked up to Burt Myers and what they do and how they try to survive Bowman Gray week in and week out. But but even better man than me. And then, but yeah, I mean, and obviously a lot of young guys coming in there, and Luke Baldwin will be my teammate when I go to Caraway. So and he's a great kid, and so it's fun to watch him. And but yeah, so yeah, the Connor Jones is run, Elliott Sadler's run this year. So yeah, so it's really pretty cool to be able to see that some of these guys want to come back and race a little bit.
Yeah, old racers never die. They just keep their helmets in storage for a while and bring them back out again. I think that's the
Yep.
story there. One of the stories I've told, not on this show, but I've told a few people about bumping into you at an IndyCar race a few years ago, and we had the whole conversation about why were you there? You and Kristen, your wife, were there, and I was amazed. I mean, I knew you had the Breaking Limits agency that you started a long time ago. Talk a little bit about how you get to go to all these cool races that aren't NASCAR races.
Yeah, I mean, I took a little, I guess I took a little hiatus there from driving. And so my wife and I, and she's a ton smarter than I am. So it worked out really well that we got married. And so she's taken over Breaking Limits. She got her MBA at Duke, and she is wide open on it. And so we got the opportunity to do the McLaren hospitality. She did. And then, so we got to go to, I went to more IndyCar races, and I did cup races for a couple of years there. And then after that, she still does a lot of hospitality in different ways. And one right now is the 94 Club in Sunoco, and, part of the Ganassi and Simpson group. And so, yeah, I went to Long Beach this year for the first time. I'd never been there. I don't get to go to Washington. I get to go on Saturday, but not on Sunday. And then I didn't go to the Brickyard this year, but I think I had never been to the Brickyard, and I think now I've been like 6 times.
To the 500.
Indianapolis 500.
The 500, yeah.
So the Indianapolis 500, I've been there like 6 times. I'm like, who would have thought I would have been there 6 times? So I've been to Laguna Seca IndyCar racing, watching there, and then so yeah, for me, I'm like, man, this is awesome. To go to Road America, I've never been there before, so I get to go to all these cool events, see you. So I went to Portland where I saw you at.
Yeah.
And yeah, I love it. I've got my IndyCar hard card, and it's as special to me as my my driver's license is sometimes, because I feel like it could get me in more places. But yeah, it really is cool. And obviously Phoenix was a fun one because I had both a Cup hard card and an IndyCar hard card. And so NASCAR couldn't go. You could not go into the Cup garage with your or the IndyCar garage with your NASCAR hard card. So I had my IndyCar hard card. So I walked through there, and I'm like, whoa, I feel pretty special right now because there's nobody in here Cup people, right? And so, and I've met, quite a few people throughout the years. So yeah, so it's great. And I love watching those cars run too. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. I really am. And so I'm not sure my next race right off the top of my head, other than Washington, I guess. Like I said, I won't be there on Sunday, but I'll be there on Saturday. So to watch the race in DC. And yeah, I get to go to a lot. My wife goes. And so we love racing, and both of us do. So it makes it a lot easier when we're talking about it at night at dinner time. Sure.
If you had the chance, would you have run the double back in the day? The 500 and the 600 on the same day?
I doubt it, just because that never triggered my head as far as like, yeah, that's what I want to do. I think I was just so focused on, on cup racing that, for me, I wasn't, versatile enough to do that. I think, I mean, I don't think that would have been smart for me to do, but so I never even had an ounce of thought of it. So.
You were there. You were at Gibbs, I think, when Tony did it in 2001, I think it would have been. You would have been part of that, or at least observing that. And I can't imagine the strain that puts on your body to try to run 1,100 miles in one day.
Yeah, that is tough, and I mean, that's when, it's tough to do. John Andretti, Tony, and obviously, Kyle, and, a few others have done it, but yeah, I mean, it would be hard to do. I did the double the last 2 years. I didn't do it this year. The 2 years before, I did the double. I left on Sunday morning. We had a group of people. We flew to Indy. I took them around, showed them everything that I know of. We watched most of the race, got back in a helicopter, got to an airplane, flew back to Charlotte, got there before the drivers' meeting, did that, sat in a suite and watched them race. And so we raised money for Motor Racing Outreach. And so we got to do that with several people. And so that was fun. So I did the double, but I didn't really get to drive. I didn't drive.
You did the retired guys double.
Fly. Yeah. So but it was fun because we raised $110,000 out one year. And then I think a little bit less than that the first year. We didn't have as many people, but we had 2 airplanes the second year. So yeah, that was fun. So I got to go and walk down pit road with a group of people at Indy, and then get back and kind of hit pit road for a short period of time, and then sit in the suite with them and watch the Coke 600. And I will say this, I was tired at the end of that. So I can't imagine running both races.
One final question for you, my friend, before I let you go. You've got all the budget money you need. You're going to start a 4-car team. Bobby Labonte Racing is going to be a 4-car cup team. Who do you hire to drive?
To drive? I don't know. I'm not sure yet. I mean, there's some people out there I want to say, but I'm going to hold that in reserve. I don't know. Really, it's a great question because, you want to your first hire needs to be somebody that's probably seasoned, that's been there, done that. And, I'd hire Brad Keselowski, but he already owns a team. You would hire people like that,
Nobody has any contract. Nobody's on contract to anybody else. Pick your 4.
But the thing about it is you got to have somebody that's going to say, you know what, we're going to start a team. I'm the first guy here, but I got to see it being built. So on day one, you're not moving into Joe Gibbs Racing number 11 car or Joe Gibbs Racing number 54 car or whatever. That's going to be, like, hey, we're going to probably win, every 4 races, we're going to see a victory lane somewhere, right? So to build it, you need somebody seasoned that can say, you know what, I'll help you build, right? And so it could be a Brad. I mean, Brad is a guy. Maybe Joey is a guy. It's got to be a veteran, I think, to start a program with to build with that. If you don't have that, and if you have a young guy, and if we don't run good the first 2 weeks, frustration comes in. Seasoned veteran's going to understand that it's going to take a while.
All right, my friend. Thank you.
I didn't answer. I'm sorry. I did not answer that.
It was an answer, but not an answer. So nobody will be angry at anything you said, which is great, which is what you want. Bobby, all the best. Great to see you again. Appreciate the time very, very much, and wish you all the best down the road. And say hi to everybody else for us, and we'll talk again soon, I hope.
Yeah, we'll see you at a racetrack, hopefully.
All right, sounds good. Bobby Labonte, NASCAR Hall of Famer, with us today here on Raceline.